Hi everyone. Today we have such a special guest, Samantha Hanratty, who plays Teen Misty on Yellowjackets. Sammy, thank you so much for being here. How are
Of
you?
course. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. We You saw my videos on TikTok and I went to the premiere because you invited me, which was so kind.
I'm so
Um,
happy it worked out. I'm like, that honestly was the highlight of the whole thing. I was like, just stoked that it all worked out.
right? And I feel like I've been talking so much about my time at the premiere, but how did you enjoy the night and celebrating the season premiere?
It was great. It was like a lot just because, I just like had my baby. So that was a lot. But no, it was so fun. Like it's just fun when you get to celebrate hard work and, getting to see everybody not in dirt and blood is always nice. And yeah, and just like getting to celebrate the fandom too. Like that's why I was so stoked that it got to work out to have you and Benji there, just because I was like, literally, like what you guys do is, in my opinion, so freaking cool. And as like a major fan of so many different shows and movies and people, and like I, I just think it's like super fun to celebrate you guys as well, And so yeah, I always get really excited. I get really nervous before big events, but and like I feel like my anxiety comes out in like very like kind of ways. And so people are like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "I swear I'm not on drugs." But it comes across like I am all the time.
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. My anxiety just like makes me very mellow and I just like lay down and I'm like, okay, I need to
That's
calm
so
down for a
nice. Because
bit.
then you just seem calm and cool and collected. Meanwhile, I'm like, I say so much shit that I'm like, why did I just say that? Why did that just happen? So I'm jealous of your anxiety.
So a month into the season, how is your I guess predictions about fan reception of the show compared to what you've seen, with the 6 episodes that are out?
It's fun because there's certain things that like I had theories on while reading the scripts that I'm seeing a lot of people have theories on. Um, and I think people are in for more cool and fun surprises. And yeah, I think like episode 6 was definitely, I think, my favorite episode of the entire show, like
Hmm.
besides the pilot. I think it was like my favorite just because there's so many questions on like how does this happen, or like will this or that happen, and you're kind of like just starting to see the beginning of that. And I'm just really super excited for it. People
Hmm.
are smart. Our fan base is very smart.
Right?
I'm like, damn. There's sometimes when you post something that I'm like, no, fuck. I'm like, how'd you get that? But you're still in for some good surprises.
Yeah, it's so fun because there's so many eyes on everything. So people will pick up on different things. And even if it's not like true, it's still like,
Yeah.
it could be, which
Oh
is
my
really
God, are you
interesting.
kidding? Like immediately I was like watching the video where they were like, oh, add your guys' is like one word or whatever. And like my word was like bow and arrow. And it's been fun to see what people take with that.
Hmm.
But yeah, and then so I think it was Sophie Thatcher that said explorers, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. But it can mean so many different things, but you guys are smart. So
We're gonna get to episode 6 in a few, but I
yeah.
just wanted to talk about you portraying Misty and like your Instagram bio literally says that one girl you hated on the show that you love. So like what was it that drew you to Misty knowing that some people may not agree with her actions? And arguably, I feel like as the season has gone on, or at least the show, everyone has done something that has is unforgivable. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, like what drew you to playing her, and then also like what does it mean for you to be playing her?
Yeah. I think that like I've never really been one to play too many characters that people like. Like even since I was a kid, when I was on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, I played like the kid that everybody was like, oh, that little brat, like and I always had fun with it because I always like if I had the, chance to play like Superwoman or Harley Quinn, I would pick Harley Quinn, like I like messy people. I like messy characters. I think like it's it makes my job a lot more interesting to find out why people do what they do. And I think with Misty, it's so easy for sorry It's construction happening. It's so easy for people to look at her and be like, oh my God, she's annoying or she's weird or she's this or that. And I think that it's my job to create the layers to make people go, wait, oh, I kind of feel bad for her, or like, oh, like that, and I think if I can do that, then I'm doing my job correctly because I want to be able to find her justifiable actions. I want to be able to play her and go, like, oh, what just happened triggered something that happened to her years ago, or like when Van looks at Misty a certain way, it's like, am I gonna take that and be like defensive over it, or is it like I'm kind of backed into a corner again, or and so I get to kind of make these decisions that make my job really fun. Like I like it. And yeah, I think there's a lot of things I really sorry really enjoy about Misty. And there's things that I disagree with. I think that, like, for me, I think she's done, and I'm probably forgetting something, but I think she's done two things that I find to be quite unforgivable.
Hmm.
But the rest of it, I'm like, jury's out. Like, I'm not sure. Like, there's only two things that I feel like I've been able to not justify her actions. And one of them, I feel like people always gloss over, but it's like her looking at a drowning rat in a pool.
Hmm.
To me, like, that was, even if you saw yourself as a drowning rat, Misty, it's not very nice to do
Hmm.
that, okay? And actually, that's cruel. Um, and then what she did to Ben, and not what everybody talks about, which is the leg. I'm like, I am on the side of like, she saved his life by
Oh,
cutting off his leg.
100%. It
Yes. And
was
when people are like,
all mangled.
yes, people are like, I can't believe she did that. I'm like, what, saved a man's life? Like,
Exactly. He
I'm
wasn't
like,
gonna go anywhere with that leg. There was no leg
exactly.
there.
Yes, literally, it was mush. It was mush. And
Hmm.
so, but yeah, no, it was when he was sleeping and her curiosity is coming in, and
Hmm.
that scene in particular made me very uncomfortable too. I think I even like had a little bit of a conversation with the writers about
Hmm.
like, where is this line going to be drawn? I don't really want to be like portraying this type of thing. So I had to really go from it of like a pure curiosity, kind of like medical mind frame, just so that I could do my own job kind of thing. And yeah, but to me, that one's quite unforgivable as well. But
Hmm.
everything else, I'm like, the black box, I can see why she did it. I don't think it was a good idea, but I could see why she did it. There's things that she's done that I'm like, ugh. And then there's other times when I read it and I'm like, oh, so they created a fun character for me, and I, just hope I do her justice.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely your portrayal adds so many layers to it, and you're succeeding in your job.
Oh,
If yeah, I'm
thank you.
surprised you didn't mention Crystal, her bestie.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think that Misty did it. I think now I think she would have done something really terrible. It
Hmm.
had it not gone the way it did. But I truly think there was a shock factor of like, that's not what she was expecting to happen.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, she pushed her. Never once did
You didn't
Nuha and
touch
I
her.
do the scene where I touched her. I never
Hmm.
touched her. Like, so, so I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Jury's
Hmm.
out. I don't know.
Yeah, my mom was like, but she pushed her. I'm like, no, no, no. She
No,
she
she
fell off the
didn't.
cliff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but I do think it's
Nuha's amazing,
funny.
by the way.
Oh, yes. I think it's funny that you mentioned Crystal a couple times this season, and there's like crickets. Like you
I'm
say
like,
Crystal, and everyone's like, who?
let the girl rest. Why am I bringing this up?
Hmm.
But yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm wondering if she's gonna just stick her foot in her mouth sooner than later, and like,
Hmm.
because I feel like she wants people to like almost remember it, and it's like, Misty, let that just go. Let it
Hmm.
go.
And it kind
But
of
yeah,
fuels those Crystal isn't real theories, which I know you've debunked. I know
I
you've debunked,
know,
and
I
it's my
know,
least
I know.
favorite
And it's
thing.
it's hard because I think it would have been so cool. Like, it would have been such a cool plot twist, but there's just too much acknowledgement of like her being a real person. Oh my God,
Hmm.
not this wind.
It's glam. It's glam.
Yeah. This is
Um,
actually a set.
yeah. Speaking of characters, like side characters that kind of had like a bigger story, this season we see a lot of people kind of come out into the forefront, like Mari, Melissa, Akila, Jen. Can you talk about what it's like seeing your castmates play bigger roles this season?
It makes me so proud, and like I get goosebumps like because they're all so talented. And there's this weird thing with like series regulars and guest stars and recurring. And it's hard for me because growing up, like series regulars just meant you're in every episode. And I get like contractually there's differences, but to me, it's like they do the exact same amount of work. They're out in the wilderness with us all the time. They're extremely talented people, like extremely talented women. And so getting to see them kind of get their flowers, get their times to shine has been so exciting, and I'm so proud of them. And um yeah, I think every time I read a script, I would get like so stoked. I'd be like, I'd literally call Nia and be like, oh my God, did you see this? Like, are you excited about this? Are you excited about that? And same thing with Jenna. And like, I mean, Alexa, I'm so like, this season is like such a great season for her. And yeah, I think that we're all just really excited for each other when you get to see somebody have great stuff. It's like it is like a team aspect, and also like those are my girls. Like that's like my some of my besties, you know. So I'm extra thrilled for them. Like I feel like I want to cut up like reels for them just to like, you know, like if there weren't all the fan edits out there, I would be making them myself. Like, but there are already a great amount of fan edits that are awesome. So
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, as a fan, I'm so happy that we're getting little bits to see just what they can do because, like,
yeah,
Alexa in the cave, amazing. Like those first couple
so
episodes,
good,
and
so
like as
good.
much as I hate Lottie putting Aquila through all of that, I'm so glad, you
I
know.
know, I know, I know. Nia's fantastic, and I love her portrayal and like how she brings Aquila to life. And like, yeah, with Alexa, like you know, because Alexa's been there, but since the beginning,
Exactly.
and she's just like, I'm so happy for her. And I just remember like filming season one, there were just so many times that like I would be on the other side of the camera and like be taking pictures or videos when she was filming, and there's so many times that I would be like, oh, like I wish she had like even more because she's so good and
Yeah.
she's so like captivating to watch. She's so beautiful. And she just like can say so much with just her eyes. And like I loved the snarkiness that started in season two with her, but like I was just really excited. I remember when we did our scene together with it was like Lottie had just like was going to the bathroom and like and
Hmm.
Mari's complaining and stuff like that. We have kind of this little like moment together. And she just got this vulnerability moment where she got to kind of release and get emotional. And I was just really hopeful and excited for season three that we were gonna see more of that kind of stuff. And we definitely have. And there's more to happen too, that she's got some really great stuff towards the end of the season as well.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move into some specifics. I'm gonna start with episode 4.
Okay.
I do
And
have a
like I said, let me know
question.
if it gets too loud because I
Oh,
can go inside.
I don't hear anything. Like you keep saying the construction, I don't hear a thing.
Oh, great. Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
you're
Okay.
good. I have to ask with episode 4. It's called 12 Angry Girls, One Drunk Travis. Was Travis supposed to be like actually drunk, or was that
No clue. Like you're talking to the wrong girl here. I'm like, I don't know if was it always one drunk Travis? Because I feel like I always remember it not having that part. And then that part came out and I
Oh,
was like, oh,
okay.
that's funny. And then I was like, wait, isn't he like supposed to just be on shrooms? Is he drunk? Like, is he, you
Hmm.
know? And so, but I do think he's definitely like tripping.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't know if he's drunk. So I
Hmm.
think he's just having a good, not a good time. Poor guy. I don't think he's
Yeah.
enjoying any of his trips
Mm-mm.
that he's having. But I
No.
think pretty much this entire season, we're seeing a under the influenced Travis.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
at least that's my understanding.
Yeah. A lot of people had questions about. They were like, "Where is the drunk Travis? Where is he?" And I'm like, "Guys, I don't know." So I had
I'm
to
like, no,
ask.
I see it more of like him like uh being like under the influence and like with his sketching. Like I think he's just kind of in his own world. Cause I
Yeah.
personally think if he was fully there in any way, he would have had a lot more like emotion to
Hmm.
like how Ben was being treated, you know?
For sure. Yeah. And then you were talking about there was deleted closing statements.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that for, I don't know,
Yeah.
anything you could
Yeah.
say?
There was a part and I really loved it. It was Misty telling the group for the first time about Ben wanting to self exit. And it was like her um expressing like where he was mentally, and then there's a part where she's like, he is so much more of a danger to himself than he is to anybody else. And like, oh, I get like goosebumps just because it was like just this plea. And honestly, I mean, I have no idea why it got cut. It could have been a timing thing. It could have been so many different things, but I could also see that honestly, maybe it was too good, and
Hmm.
that like it's like if they heard that, like, they would have had more compassion for him. Maybe, I'm not sure, but to me, very emotional. Um, and it definitely was, yeah, one of my favorite parts of the whole episode. So it's a hard thing being an actor. Sometimes you have so little control over like what ends up happening. But I mean, obviously, I have so much trust in like the process, and I think that there's so many people it has to go through. It's not just the writers, it's not
Hmm.
just our showrunners, it's not just the producers or the director or the editors. It's then the studio, and it's
Yeah.
then, the network, and it's just so much. So
Yeah.
I think that it wasn't necessarily super needed, but as an actor, it was something I like hope they will put it out there one day. Like I would hope to see it because I really liked it.
Yeah, I really want like a bonus features. Like I know we were
Me
talking about
too.
bloopers, we were talking about deleted scenes.
Anything.
Like
I'm like, come on, you guys. I want to
exactly.
see this stuff.
Are there any other deleted scenes that you remember maybe from like past seasons that you wish were
There
included?
was a scene that didn't air that I was a bit bummed out about this most recent episode, episode 6. It wasn't one that I was in, but Akila, she had the little goat,
Okay.
and Ben actually, like, from my memory, which is flawed because of baby brain and I'm
Hmm.
just not the sharpest tool in the shack. But if I can remember correctly, she's like talking with Ben and she needs to find a way to feed the baby because its mom has passed away. She mentions that briefly, that like
Hmm.
its mom had passed away, and so they found this baby with the mom. And so she needs to find a way to feed him. So she created that like thing that we used on Ben for the goat.
Uh-huh.
And so that was kind of how we ended up getting that like idea to then do that. So
Hmm.
that was a bit of a bummer because I like, to me, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
on why. And also it was just a great scene for Nia, and I'm like her biggest cheerleader, and I just want all of her scenes out there. So that was a bit of a bummer. And then I think you can hear that, right? That was crazy loud. No? Okay.
Barely.
um, but season 2, there was definitely a lot more stuff that was not shown
Hmm.
for our timeline. Because there were certain things that just never came out that would have tied things to other things coming out. And so something not coming out then led to a lot of scenes being cut.
Interesting. You're being very vague.
I think you know what I'm talking about. Go ask Jason Ritter.
Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. I gotcha. Okay. I
Jason
was
did
gonna say
nothing for this, by the
mhm.
way.
With the deleted scene with Nia, it makes sense why Lottie looks at her when she says, "I have an idea." Because I was like, "Why are you looking at her?" Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes
yeah.
a lot of
So it's
sense.
hard. It's hard when you have such a big show. And I think they really try with like the adult timeline and the teen timeline to
Hmm.
like, get everything, as much stuff out there.
Yeah,
But I think
so hard.
sometimes it's like that tied that in really well,
Hmm.
But I mean, if you see our cuts, like the editing can be really fast because it's so much to just put into like an hour episode.
Hmm. Yeah, and then you only got 10 episodes, and it's
I
like
know, I
dual
know.
timelines, double the people. I always talk about that. Like, it's so like they're doing the best with what they have, but like I just want more all the time,
Yeah,
selfishly, you
but then
know?
it's hard because, it's like, I mean, I'm just gonna speak candidly. Like, you get complaints no matter what. People are always gonna complain. But it's like if things are done too fast, then they're like, we want more. And then it's like things, drag out a little bit. They're like, this is boring. And it's like,
Hmm.
no, oh my God, let it cook, babe. Let it
Hmm.
cook. Like in the most literal sense, this is Yellow Jackets. We have to
Let it
let things
cook.
simmer. Like.
Yeah.
Like,
I was wondering, do you know where the camp is in relation to the cabin and the lake and the plane?
no, no, I don't because like where we film, like I
Mhm.
obviously know all that, but like the lake is a completely different, like
Mhm.
we're nowhere near a lake for where we actually are filming. The only thing I know like relation wise is the creek, because the creek really is right next to where our huts are.
Mhm.
So the creek's right there, but I don't know how far away the plane is. Because for
Uh-huh.
me, the plane really is where the green room is. So, like,
Uh-huh.
we leave that set, we walk just like, a little bit up a hill, and that's where the plane is. So, I don't know for the girls, like, yeah, like how far away it all actually is.
Yeah, I
I'll
gotcha.
have
I
to
was
ask.
wondering how they like, do they go really far from the cabin because it was burning for
Right.
weeks? So it's like, where did they
Yeah.
find this
Yeah.
clearing too? Like, was there some deforestation? Like,
Yeah. I feel like there was also just, I don't know if we did anything at the lake this season besides Shauna's like dream sequence.
Mhm.
I don't think we they're over it. They're like, we got a creek.
Yeah, I gotcha.
We don't need to go. Which I didn't mind. I didn't need any misty swimsuit scenes this year. not that anybody needs to see that, but
Yeah. Um, I noticed that Misty wasn't present during the card draw for
yeah,
for Ben.
yeah.
What I guess did they let her sit it out?
Yeah, so that was my own idea. And
Okay.
so when I saw that brought up, I was like, oh my God, I hope that I didn't like make a mistake. But for me, because I was his counsel, I
Hmm.
just was like, she wouldn't even be putting herself in the position to
Hmm.
be somebody who could be putting him to death. So I kind of in my mind was like I would be going and speaking with him or just going and kind of disassociating. I wanted that time for her to really have a lot of like kind of the dissociation of like she's done everything that she could and now like it really has kind of hit the end,
Hmm.
because obviously we don't know that it's going to be stopped. So for her, I think like even I even was like, would she even go with them to the execution? And I
Yeah.
think that like that was kind of something that I was battling back and forth of like, would she do this or that? But there were things that I just was like, I just don't think she could be there for this,
Hmm.
you know? So
But then not contrary, but then in episode 6, she's doing everything she can to keep him alive
yeah,
and she does the forced feeding. Um, why are they wearing masks? Like, why do you think? Because like I'm thinking like obviously like he knows who they are. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's like, are they trying to, I guess, like dissociate in a way where it's like not really them doing it, but it's like these masked figures that are, doing this aggressive act?
yeah. I think for Misty, with it being like up above, it's almost like she's a doctor. You know
Oh,
what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is like her mask. And I
Hmm.
think like I think that it is like a disassociation thing. Like these are our characters. This is what we're putting on. Um, I don't know if it's like kind of like a war paint type of thing where it's
Hmm.
like this is like we're doing what we have to do. And then, afterwards it's like the immediate taking off kind of thing. Cause it's like we did our job kind of thing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but for Misty, it's actually, I'm really happy that I got told kind of no, because I really was fighting not wanting to wear that mask. And the only reason is because I don't know if you know what it is, but like, that's like the crotch part of like somebody's tights. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, like, there's no way that like, I'd be taking some dirty crotched panties and then being like, oh, like, let me wear this. And I just remember being like, this is just, I just don't believe it. Like, I don't know if I buy that, like, she would do that. Like, how clean are these? Whose are these? Like,
Hmm.
all this stuff. And I just remember Sophie and Elise being like, it looks cool, dude. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, if she thinks it looks
It does
cool.
look cool.
It does look
Yeah.
cool.
I
And
mean,
at first
compared
I
to
was
the
like,
bunny, I'm like,
oh, see, I think the bunny is terrifying.
it's so
Like
scary.
it's so scary. I took so many pictures when we did the pilot of the bunny. Like that was like
Yeah.
my favorite look, out of all of the character, like the animal characters. But yeah, yeah, at first was like just think I was thinking I think a little too practical because
Yeah.
I was just like whose are these, when did they get washed, like
Hmm.
why, kind of thing. But then honestly seeing it, I was like, oh no, it's kind of rad, like it is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, and then
Hopefully this
those,
will be some Halloween costumes.
oh my God. Yeah, that'd be especially when we get to second winter and those come back. So, yep.
It's gonna be cool.
All right. Now we're up to episode 6. Ben and Misty's
Uh-oh.
final scene. We see a really breakdown for Misty,
Yeah.
she cries, but then she also has like this snap out of it moment, which phenomenal job, by the way. Like I was watching it and I was like, whoa, like the way that you could just switch on a dime, like I was amazed.
Thank you.
Um, and some people were weirded out by the kiss. I thought in Misty's own way, it was on brand. Like it was sweet. It was her goodbye.
Yeah.
So can you talk about like what's going through her head there?
Yeah. I think it's so much. It also happens so fast, like after she knows that it's happened. So there has been no time to process all of it, you know? And I think that uh she lets her emotions kind of get the best of her in a lot of ways and kind of reacts off of emotion. And I think like the whole like hitting herself out of it was kind of just this. And I could be wrong, but I feel like I think I might have added that myself because personally, with somebody with like anxiety disorder, like this is like a very vulnerable thing for me to share, but I've had moments like that where I've had to like literally like hit myself out of something. Um, and um and I think that like for her, she was able to shut it down real quick, whereas like I'm not so good at that. But like, it is this kind of like, if I lose my mind, if I lose it, then like I have no control anymore. And I think that she like desperately needs control. And so, and also she has so much anger in her. They cut the scene a little bit short because originally like I then like stand up, I grab a candle that was like out there and I like blow out this candle and kind of like have this moment of like I'm going to go like to Natalie. And they
Hmm.
also I mean, I'm happy they didn't use this scene. I like let Sophie know that I was gonna do it beforehand, so that she wasn't like I didn't do it to her. But originally, at the end of like the group scene, I spat at her and like walked away. And I was kind of bummed that didn't work
Oh
because I
my
was
God.
like, yeah, I just wanted something to where it's like she's so angry with what Natalie did. And as a viewer, can watch it and go, I'm so glad that Natalie did that because I think that was like the kindest thing she could do for the coach. But obviously, Misty is not thinking in that way. I will say one thing that I felt for Misty was I always thought if Ben was going to go, Misty would want it to be at the hands of her. And I
Hmm.
think that Natalie taking like almost took that away from her too, you know? And I think that that's something that she's selfishly upset with as well, like that should have been Misty should have been the one to do this like kind gesture kind of thing. And I think there's a part of her that's like selfishly upset that Natalie took that opportunity from Misty as well. But yeah, and the kiss, I loved the kiss. I think I loved it because I think it's polarizing and it's confusing and it's gross and it's weird and it's also sweet and sad. And I just remember like it's really hard to cry with the contacts in. Like I have a really hard time, but also like I've also consciously made a decision that like Misty doesn't she cries but she doesn't she's not one to have like the tear flow. Like I'm like a big like my god, like I cry and like it's like a puddle, whereas Misty like it's hard for her to fully engage in that emotion, and especially in front of other people she like wants to have it together so bad,
Hmm.
um but when we were doing that scene, I just remember like it was my close up and I looked at Steven and I was like, can I just have you like no cracking jokes or anything? I just need to tell you something. And they're like calling rolling and they're doing all this stuff and I like just like got really close to him and I was like, "Ugh, I'm gonna cry just talking about it." I was like, sorry. I was like, I'm just so honored that so much of my stuff has gotten to be with him. And I was just like, I cared for you so much and I love you so much. And this show's been really, really hard for me in a lot of ways. And each season has had such different challenges. Um, and I've had my own like insecurities in playing Misty that I've really had to fight with, and he's always made me so comfortable and been the safe place for me. And I just hugged him and I was like, I'm really gonna miss you. And I just started and then we went into the scene and I think that's like what they ended up using. And I think a lot of it was just really raw and honest because I was really truly like I sobbed when they called like a picture wrap on Steven Krueger.
Yeah.
Like I was not well at all. So yeah.
Yeah. That's so sweet. I mean, I'm
That's
I'm
him.
starting the Steven Krueger Emmy campaign right now. Like his
He
the
he
past couple
deserves it. I don't
episodes,
even think he realizes that how
phenomenal
talented he
work.
is.
Yeah.
He's so good. He brings such a different energy to the show. Like I feel like every time Ben's in a scene, it's like a new there's just a new feeling there, you
Hmm.
know? And I think it's because he is one of the people that like didn't partake in the cannibalism. He's the only one who like did keep certain parts of humanity alive in himself. And yeah, I love it. And I think also just the storyline with Paul and never like, we didn't really get to see much of people's home life outside of the pilot and like a few glimpses here and there. Whereas like we got to see that like he really did have a life outside of the wilderness
Hmm.
that like I think a lot of us would have loved to see him get to have a chance to pursue. And
Hmm.
they just punched us in the gut.
Yeah. Well, on a happier note, I know you guys do your funeral parties, and I saw the pictures of Ben's with the leg cake. Um,
Yeah.
can you tell us anything else about the funeral party? Just the celebration of life of Ben's
Yeah,
death?
I think that it was fun because we had the like it's so weird calling them the adults, but like we had the current day
Yeah, yeah.
cast, like some of them there too, which was really nice. And yeah, it was fun. It's such a weird way of describing it,
Yeah.
but like we make it as fun as we can. Not everybody wants a funeral. We usually ask like each
Oh,
person, like,
okay.
do you want a funeral? Some people don't, some people do, like, and I'm really happy that he was down to do it because
Hmm.
it was a good thing, I think, for all of us.
Yeah.
And it was fun for me because, like, I was just starting to show,
Uh-huh.
like my belly, and so it was fun to kind of see everybody and be like, "Look what's going on," and
Yeah.
so that was really sweet. And yeah, any way to celebrate Stephen is always a fun time. So
Yeah. The flag was hilarious. The
the
fuck them
flag.
kids. The fuck them
Oh,
kids
I was like,
flag.
oh yeah, no, it's so good, so good. I don't know if anybody's posted the picture, the memorial photo of him,
Oh,
but I'm
the
going to
pamphlets
soon.
that they made. I know like Sophie
Was
talked
it
about it
maybe?
in an
I don't know.
interview.
His face is so messed up in it. It's like his last like scene photo, and it's
Uh-huh.
yeah. I'm like getting ready to because I got so worried about like posting spoilers and
Hmm.
like I have so many spoiler photos
Yeah.
of him. So I think I'm gonna give it until like this next episode comes out
Yeah.
and then post the rest of it because I don't know. I don't want people to be mad at me.
Yeah. It's really tricky with the spoilers, but I'm just like eventually there's a time where like you guys gotta just watch the episode.
Or just
Like,
like just like put me on mute. Like you
yeah,
don't want to,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I gotta do it. Like
Hmm. I was wondering, do you think there's a part of Misty that wishes in the back of her mind that she didn't destroy the black box? Like now that Coach is dead, all these things have happened, or does she even like really make that connection anymore?
I think she's somebody that like acts on impulse and then like can justify her actions in so many ways. So I think that like at this point it's kind of like I don't know if she necessarily feels like the guilt of like oh well if I wouldn't have done that like we would have been found,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. I don't think she'll feel guilt unless she's like called on it or somebody
Hmm.
recognizes it you
Hmm.
know do you
Because
hear that?
I do hear a little
Okay,
bit.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
school in session.
Oh my God.
It's like there's a school by us. Sorry.
No, it's
But
okay.
yeah, I think she's somebody who doesn't fully take accountability unless she's like called on things, and even then sometimes doesn't
Hmm.
fully take accountability.
Yeah, it's more of a like a performance of accountability.
Yes, yeah,
Hmm.
yep. We all know somebody like that.
Before you were talking about Misty and Natalie, and I think that's a really interesting dynamic. And actually, what you mentioned before about you wanting Misty to be the one to kill Ben, I read an interview, and that was one of my questions, but you answered it already, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Um, so Misty and Natalie have this push and pull relationship this season because, last season she saved Nat from the hunt, but then in the trial they're kind of working together. They have these like little glances for support, which I thought was really cool that like they weren't necessarily speaking to each other because Natalie can't express that overt support, but like she's still rooting for Misty to, you know, save Ben. But
Yeah.
then we see that turnaround in episode 6,
Yeah.
immediately calling for punishment, town crier,
Yeah.
murderer. I was like, whoa,
Arrest
Misty.
her. Yeah.
So can you talk about how this dynamic has evolved over the show and what it's been like to play it with Sophie Thatcher?
Yeah, I think like one thing that we talked about, her and I, and it's always interesting, like there's things that you realize while in interviews with each other, or like things that somebody will say, and you're like, oh yeah, that's so true. And I think Sophie and I both have kind of said like there's this invisible tie between Misty and Natalie that has kind of always been there. Even from the pilot with the hallucination from Natalie seeing Misty there. I think that the two of them have a lot of more in common than people think, of just kind of being this outsider that not everybody understands all the time, and kind of beating to their own drum. And so yeah, I think that there's just a lot that there is still to be explored this season
Yeah.
with them. And I'm hoping even past this season, because obviously we get to see the kind of the adult dynamic there.
Mhm.
And the first two seasons with Misty and Natalie. And I think that working with Sophie Thatcher just makes other people better actors because she's so talented. And so I
Phenomenal.
will take that anytime, any day to work with her. And like, can we just take a moment to like just I am so proud of her. Like looking at her career, it's not a surprise at all. And she's just going to continue growing. But like, I am just in awe of Sophie Thatcher and her talents. Like, she's not just talented in one thing, she's multi talented and so just awesome and such a great person, too. Like, she's a real one. And I love her.
She's great.
Yeah.
I
Did you
I
get to
can't.
meet her?
I did,
Okay,
yeah.
good. Okay,
Yeah, I got
good.
to tell her I loved Companion because
Oh,
her new
yay.
film. Yeah, and she was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
sick." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, you were really
that
great."
is
So,
literally the definition of Thatcher. Sick.
yeah, yeah. She's
Oh,
just so
sick.
effortlessly cool. Like it's
It's
insane.
like annoying. And like I remember one day, it was like one of our first times hanging out. I was like, we were gonna get lunch or something, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to go shopping instead?" And I was just kind of remember being like, "Oh, I don't know. I just didn't see her as like somebody I'd go to the mall with. Of course, we're not going to the mall. No, she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm like at this vintage corset place, and I was like, oh, and she's like getting fitted for this like boned corset, and like
Oh
I'm
my
like, are you?
God.
What the heck? Like she's buying this like really nice like, and then like the next, I think I see her like the next time she's like wearing this like full on corset. And she's like, yeah, and I'm like, what? You're just cool. Like what
That's
the
so
heck? Like
sick.
I just could I could never touch that kind of coolness. I'm like the weird like cousin that's like still in my sweats, like hanging out.
Oh
And meanwhile, she's
no.
like in the coolest, like just most interesting fits and like just does and says the most interesting, cool things. And you're like,
Hmm.
how does this exist? And like the fact that she's got like just as cool of siblings as well, and like has just like an effortlessly cool group of friends, and like yeah, she's cool.
Yeah. All right. I know you probably can't say much, but what can you tease about how these new people will shake things up in the wilderness? You could
Oh,
just say nothing. You could also say that.
I'm gonna say bow and arrow. um, yeah, I think that there's a lot of really exciting things. I'm excited for everybody to see. It was really fun having new people too. Like we don't. If people are like, you do have guest stars. I'm like, no, no, no. Our characters don't. Like we are with this same group of people. And like, yes, this season we had a couple of new characters, like with Sylvana and Anissa and
Mhm.
Vanessa, who replaced for Jen. Um, Maya's character, like yeah, it's
Yeah.
always so confusing, and and it's like a whole thing. But yeah, so we technically have new people, but we usually on a show you have so many new people all the
Hmm.
time. You're working with extras, you're working with guest stars and co-stars and like all these different people, whereas this is one of those shows where you're like actually just isolated, so having new people was so fun. I was
Yeah.
like somebody to talk to, somebody who like hasn't heard my millions of stories over and over again. So I'm
Yeah.
just glad you guys still don't know
Hilary Swank.
who Hillary Swank is
Yeah.
playing.
There's so many theories. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm excited, very excited. Okay, let's see. All right. What do you remember about your audition? I saw a clip that you originally auditioned for Natalie.
Yeah, that was my first audition was for Natalie. I think like my email that I got back from them was like, she's not that character, which I was like, fair enough. She's not that character, but we might keep her in mind for like a guest star. And I just remember being like so bummed because I just was like, oh, like I wanted to be a part of this show so bad. And yeah, Misty wasn't honestly even on my radar. I don't think I like fit the look that they originally were going for. Um, and so yeah, I think I just wasn't in that kind of realm at the time. And then I ended up getting the audition for Misty coming in. Then they were like, okay, we want her back in for Misty, back in for Misty. And then my last audition was for Misty and Natalie. And so that was the whole thing too, because I was like, you come in for these things and like you want to bring the essence of the character and sometimes dress kind of like how they would. And so I just remember I had bangs at the time, and I just remember I had my bangs forward for Natalie, and I decided to do Natalie first because I was crying for my audition for Misty. So I did Natalie first, and I had like I think like a leather jacket, and then I took the leather jacket on, and I had this like really bright colored shirt, and I pushed the bangs like far back, which is funny because Misty has bangs, but like I just wanted them to see like my whole face and just see all the expression on it for that. And they then told me that they were going to use that tape to kind of like show to the studio and the network and kind of get the confirmation of whether or not they wanted me for it. And I had heard like around that time that they were looking at Christina. I don't know if she was
Oh,
fully
okay.
for sure it yet. And I just remember looking at photos of us being like, are they going to think this could work? Are they not?
Mhm.
Like, what's going to happen? Because at first I didn't see it. And also, it's hard for people to stretch their imagination sometimes to like, oh, they don't have the same eye color. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, we could do contacts, we can do this and
Mhm.
that, which obviously is what ends up happening. But um, I really think that like Christina and I, there are things that happened, especially in this season. I feel like that I'm hearing. I'm like, even the way that we talk with our hands sometimes, or just certain things that I'm like, damn, that's so wild. Cause like, I think our personalities are, I think I just told her this recently. Like, our personalities in real life are quite different. Like I'm golden retriever, she's black cat energy,
Mhm.
And like I think that's one of the reasons I like Christina so much is because we are so different. And I think she is one of those people that's also like effortlessly cool. Like she's just the coolest chick ever. And did I just call Christina Ricci a chick? But like, like she's super cool. And she's somebody I enjoy talking to so much. And I value like our friendship, but I just, yeah, was like intimidated to even like, how do you play a same character as somebody so iconic? And
Mhm.
I'm just glad that things have been able to work out the way they have and that they entrusted me with Misty. Like, I still am pinching myself at the idea of it. I'm like, and it was crazy because like the day that I found out I booked it, I was like going through a breakup. And I was a wreck that day. Like, I was just the worst. Oh my God, I was the worst day and then turned out to be like the best day. And it was so confusing. But like that happens so much in life, like one door closes, another door opens, and it's not just for work or relationship, it can be for so many different things. And I think that was like my new path opened that day. And yeah,
Yeah.
here we are 5 years later.
Well, the casting department chose correctly. I can't believe like the people they have found for the show. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
But it was funny that you mentioned like similarities between you and Christina's performance because I feel like this season, like you guys have always been kind of in tune, but this season is like on a next level. Like I feel like you're embracing like that tongue-in-cheek sarcasm that Misty has, like that we see in the adult timeline. Um, so I was wondering if you were like watching Christina at all and like kind of trying to adapt that because or it just kind of happened naturally because I know you guys do the thing with the glasses, like that was just
Yeah.
something you picked up on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's funny. Is that really loud, by the way? This plane. Okay. I'm like, it's the Yellowjackets. Which also, side note, is a really funny thing that we do all the time when we're filming is like if there's a plane and we have to hold for the plane, almost every time we're like, help, help, which is just a
That's
little
so
side note.
funny. Yeah.
But uh no, I don't I didn't see anything of Christina's this season. I honestly didn't even read all of the adult timelines
Hmm.
this season. Like I was really disconnected from what was happening in the adult world, which makes it so much more fun as a fan to watch things because I'm just like shocked. Um, but uh, but I think that the writing for Misty for my timeline was a lot. There were a lot of like similarities to
Hmm.
the way that she speaks in the adult timeline. And I just remember a specific episode of being like, oh, like this is the first time that I feel like I'm doing it was like me and Sophie Thatcher and it felt like a Misty Natalie scene.
Hmm.
And it felt like a Misty Natalie scene from the adult timeline. And I was just like, oh, okay, like this is cool. Like this feels like this tie is, ties in really nicely. And I think that we both just really know Misty at this point. And I think like my Misty is still growing into what she's going to
For sure.
become.
Yeah.
And as you're going to see her, she should become more and more in tune. And I think that it's just kind of beautifully happening. And
Hmm.
it's a lot of really happy accidents.
Yeah. Are there any other character dynamics you would want to be explored more with Misty? Because I know it's
Ooh.
hard. Not every, you don't really interact with every character.
Yeah. I think there's an interesting thing between Misty and Van. I think they have like
Oh,
I don't know. They don't
that's
they're
interesting.
Van's one like Liv does such a great job with Van of like
Mhm.
these little jabs that sometimes Van will say towards Misty and like making fun of Misty, but like doesn't do it behind her back. Like she does it like Van will do it to Misty's face. And I think that like it would be really fun and interesting to kind of see them go at it
Hmm.
a little bit. I think that would be yeah, an interesting dynamic to see kind of like I'd love to see them go on like a trip together, like having to go get stuff together. And
Yeah.
like I feel like they would not get along at all. And I think it would be really interesting and fun to watch. Um and yeah, I think that there are certain people that I'm just like I would love to just have more screen time with, like I obviously like love working with all of everybody. Like I feel
Mhm.
like every character is has a different reaction to Misty because she's such a character. But yeah, I think it would be fun to do some stuff with Van and Thaisa as well. Because
Mhm.
Thaisa's one I've always like wondered their relationship is an interesting one. Um, and yeah, I don't really know if they're friends or foes
Mhm.
sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah. I've seen people say that Van makes those jabs at Misty to get Thais' attention. Like, because every
Totally,
time,
because every
yeah.
time, and I think that's what makes like Jasmine and Liv such great actors is their relationship, like
Hmm.
Van and Thais's relationship, like is so natural and real. Like the like hitting your partner, like being like
Yeah.
stuff it, like you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's
It's
kind
like
of cute, but
it
at
is
Misty's
totally
expense,
cute. Yeah, yeah,
unfortunately.
exactly. I just remember like after the trial, we weren't sure because I was supposed to go into the like pen with Ben, the
Mhm.
pen with Ben. And I'm supposed to go in there with him and, as like his counselor or whatever. And it's just like a thing in the background. But Van's the one kind of leading him. And we didn't talk it out prior of like, am I going in there with him? Am I not? Like what, And so Liv just kind of made the decision to like keep going with it. And they literally like stood in front of the gate after Ben goes in and is like, you're not coming in here. And I'm like, I'm his counsel. And like we just it was such a wide shot. Nobody ever
Mhm.
heard anything, but we just like had this moment that was like I just remember being so like gut punch like
Yeah,
no like
yeah.
I have to be with my Ben kind of
Hmm.
thing. And it was just like it's just fun when you get to play improv, especially with Liv because they're so great at it.
Oh yeah, Liv's always making amazing choices in the back, and I always rewatch scenes and I'm like, what is Van doing? And it's so
Yes,
great.
because they always are reacting, and I think that's just a great tell of a great actor.
Hmm. I know you've seen edits of your character. You're speaking to the people now. You can request any edit for the show, for the
Oh
song. What would you request?
my god. Oh my god. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Sorry, I have to put real good thought behind this.
Take your time.
Oh my God. I'm trying to think musical. Um, I'm not that girl in Wicked from
Okay.
Wicked. Yes. I think that would be a good one. And I want to see some like oh, I want to see some Paul and Ben edits and Misty looking at Ben and like, yeah, I'm not that girl from Wicked.
Okay. The people will get on it.
Please, please, thank you.
If you could have a filler episode of the show, Wilderness or like at home, what would you want to see the girls do?
I just want to see more of like their life before. I want to get like a good full episode of like alive, everybody alive. I want
Hmm.
to see Laura Lee. I want to see Jackie. I want everybody there, and I want to see like a good glimpse at to like what kind of like the pilot. Like I want to see that kind of stuff, and I want to see home life
Hmm.
prior to the plane crash because obviously I want us to get to like after crash, but I
Hmm.
still want to see some of this like younger versions of these characters, and I got to do that with like 13-year-old Misty getting a
Hmm.
call about like doing anal in the janitor's closet.
Yeah.
And I just like would love to explore more of that. And like I have so many questions like
Hmm.
are all these characters like only children? Do they have siblings? Like, what are their parent like? You know, like what's going on with their parents? And it'd be so sick if we had like a star-studded cast of just like these awesome actors playing our parents. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like I'm hoping for some really cool stuff for, you know, when the rescue happens because it has to happen. Like, I'm
Hmm.
really hoping we get a season 4 and
Yeah.
get to like really explore that kind of stuff.
You and me both. Um, let's see. Um, so you're known for your behind the scenes content and the fandom
I'm like,
thanks you for it. It feeds us every week and we love it.
yay!
How important is it for you to document it, what I would call history in the making? I feel like it's hard to be in the moment and be like, oh, I want to record this, but obviously when
Yeah,
you look back, you're like, man, I'm so glad that I got
yeah.
that.
I think it's a fine line between I don't want to be annoying and I know that I am to a lot of the time like you know like and I get it like I do have my phone on me a lot. I do love taking pictures. I do love taking videos. I think like everybody on the cast kind of views me at this point as like the annoying mom that's like get together, let me get a picture, let me get a video. And like everybody at least like from what I've heard like at the end of the day does appreciate it because I remember season 1 I filmed so much and my gift to everybody was I made a big edit at the end to the song like this is how we do it and
Oh,
like it was I mean all of us were like in tears because it was just like
yeah.
wow like we did this thing and like the pilot I mean the first season was so hard and like it was like a weird difficult camp that we all went to almost and
Mhm.
got thrown into the wilderness together and so getting to see like all of what we've accomplished together it was just really cool. And I remember Steven being like, wow, I really thought you were annoying in the season for doing that. But like I'm so glad you did because now we have this forever. And so yeah, I think for me, like finding that balance of like I don't want to like be interrupting anything, but also like I love getting to take videos behind like while we're actually filming too to be like wow like I literally like I'm getting the camera and I'm getting the boom and I'm getting that like we are filming this show
Mhm.
that's so cool and I've done this for a long time like I did it while I was on Shameless I did it when like I just really like documenting things I think life is really short and um I have like if you told me to look at a date right now on my phone, I have a picture and a video from that
Mhm.
date. Like over the at least the last like 10 years, I have just as much stuff as I can because you know, like I said, life's short and you just want to be able to kind of look back and be like, look at what we did. And
Yeah.
so I'd rather be annoying for like 2 seconds and then, you know, have that memory than
Exactly.
but also time and place, you know.
Yeah. But we thank you for it. We do. It's
Yeah, of course.
amazing every week.
Of course.
Do you have a shooting experience that stands out to you, whether it's this season, the past seasons?
I mean, There are so many. I think for me, it's like when you realize that somebody has been wrapped on the show. Like obviously you hope that they come back in like ghost
To
form
haunt
or
you.
whatever.
Yeah.
But like those are the days that you really are like it's hard. It's hard days. And I just like I think one of the big ones for me was like all my stuff with Nuha and then knowing
Hmm.
that like it was coming to the end was really hard.
Yeah.
I'm still hoping that she gets to come back at some point. I want her to be back so bad. Um, but yeah, I think anything that was like Crystal and Misty was crusty, as they call us,
Yeah,
was
crusty.
just really special. And then this season, I only have ever gotten to do it once, and I was kind of bummed because I still didn't get to like work with anybody from the adult timeline. I'm hoping that I get to at some point of like, like I'm there, but I'm not kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, but yeah, I got to kind of do that with looking over Courtney's
Yeah.
body. Um, but that was actually my last day of filming
Oh,
for
wow.
the whole season, and so I was so pregnant at that point.
Hmm.
And it's just like it's so funny watching some of this back because I'm like, oh my god, how are they gonna like hide this? But so far, I don't
Hmm.
think you've been able to tell.
No.
Yeah, and like even with the bent stuff, like with me standing there, I was like so pregnant and literally like wearing like like three times bigger of pants than I ever have. And you still, I was like, okay, we can't really tell
Hmm.
yet. But I think also like any celebrations that we have on sets, like birthdays are super special to me. Getting to celebrate other people is like one of my favorite things. And like night shoots are always going to be something I will forever remember of just like this most recent season, like Mia and I were laying I had like a crash mat that they gave me so that I could lay down in between scenes. And like because my baby's kicking and moving and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I need to lay down. And Mia would come and lay with me and we would listen to worship music this season because
Okay.
we're like, there's just some spooky energy coming out, and
Yeah.
like we just wanted to cleanse some of that energy when we were doing the ceremonial like the like that
Hmm.
this like last episode. That was when we were listening to like worship music prior to that. And it's really fun when the crew gets involved with like whenever they're playing music like on like a speaker or something like
Hmm.
that, and you're all dancing and you're like, it's 3 a.m., we're in the Canadian wilderness, like we're dressed up like freaking weirdos, we're doing all this stuff, and it's just you kind of get like that lens of like our lives are so weird and I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, that was a really long answer.
No, you're good. I want to be mindful of your time, so I'll only
No,
ask like
I
a
just
couple more.
talk
No,
forever.
no. Um, Sophie Thatcher calls this show Yellowjackets University in the way that you guys are just constantly like learning things. Because I mean, you're doing it all: drama,
Yeah.
comedy, action, eating people.
Yeah.
So what's something that you've learned on the show that you can see yourself taking to other projects?
Oh, I everything. I'm like a sponge. I love to just absorb everything that I can, like especially to just do my best and my craft. I think that like this season I've learned that like through and I don't want to use this word inappropriately, but like, at least in the US, being pregnant is like looked at under the Disabilities Act. So kind of having, I guess, like quote unquote like a disability like while filming this season, um, I think that just made me extra mindful of like how fragile our bodies are and like how to care for others that are going through similar things or who are just going through difficult times while filming. Like I think that I learned a lot about myself and what I am capable of, which is really cool. um One thing I've always wanted to be, and I think this show has like made it even more so, is just like having a voice and being able to advocate not just like for other actors, but also for crew. Like I wanted to make sure that I was really mindful on this show because of the sensitivity of certain subjects and like especially like with the big like Shauna episode with the baby, like
Hmm.
making sure that it wasn't because as cast we get pretty taken care of like
Hmm.
um and I always just want to make sure that crew is getting just as taken care of, and I think that's something I want to bring with me into every project of making sure that everybody is comfortable and okay with the material that's being had. And if you're not okay, that you have a safe space to go to. So I think that's really important. And yeah, I think I've just been learning more and more to advocate for myself because have never been good at that. And so kind of being able to say like, I'm not comfortable with this or that. And I remember like this season, there's a part where I needed to be in a harness. And I was at that point 8 months pregnant and
Oh
third
yeah,
trimester. And I was like, I will
absolutely
not.
not.
I will
Yeah.
not. And, not to give too much away, but, like it's not like you'd be able to tell who I am anyways,
Mm,
based off of what, yeah.
interesting.
I'm
Okay.
gonna just,
Yeah.
but
Stop it right
yeah, so,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Um, this is a question for my mom because she's always asking me this
yeah,
about acting. How do you get yourself to cry? She's always asking me that because she's always like so amazed by like the
yeah,
emotion and she's like, how do they do it? Because like she
yeah.
obviously she loves your performance, by the way. Shout out to
Thank
mom.
you.
But
Shout
yeah.
out to
Yeah.
mom. Moms are the best. Yeah, it's different for everything. So like I think some people think it's just like how do you get the tears? And it's like
hmm
it comes from a different place for every character in every scene. It comes from a different place. So you can cry from tears of joy is going to be completely different than, crying because you just lost your best friend or crying because you like broke your ankle or crying. Like there's so many different cries. And I think like, especially now, like having a baby, you can tell even from very young, all the different cries. I'm crying because I'm hungry. I'm crying because I'm hurt.
hmm
I'm crying because of this, or that. And like us as humans, we have so many ranges of emotion. And so I think really being able to fully understand your character and empathize with what they're going through emotionally like is enough for me to get
hmm
there. Like when I think about like kind of what I talked about with Steven, like that scene was saying a goodbye to Ben, but also for me saying bye to Steven. And that's something where I could bring my own personal stuff to it. But sometimes I don't have to have any type of emotional tie to be able to emotionally get there because I'm a very like emotional person to begin with. But yeah, there's different things for everything. I mean, I know like sometimes if I really am struggling to like get there emotionally, um, this is just like my own trick, but like I was really close with my German Shepherd growing up. And I miss her dearly. And she passed away like my God, almost 15 years ago. No, yeah. Yeah. It's been like 13 years since she's passed away. But if I close my eyes and I like use my hand and I use my leg and I can like kind of like act like I'm petting her and I close
Oh
my
yeah.
eyes, I can get to that place of feeling that. And if that works for the scene, that can work almost any time because I
hmm
have that like emotional tie to that feeling, but I wouldn't use that for like a breakup scene because
Yeah.
that's just they're two different,
hmm
emotions. And so I think it's different for every actor and I kind of have my own stuff that I've been through in life that I can almost kind of always like be like relate to.
hmm
But usually if I'm thinking enough about what my character's going through, it will emotionally get me there. So
Yeah.
yeah. And
That's
I
right.
mean, some
Sir.
actors literally, like there's a thing called a tear stick.
Oh yeah, I've
Sorry
heard of
to,
that.
yeah, I'm like, sorry to just
Burst the
crush a
bubble.
lot of people. But like, honestly, sometimes I've used it before. It's just a great thing to, if you've been crying over and over and over again, sometimes you're like, there is no tears left.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so it's not necessarily about getting the tears out as much as it's showing the emotion. Whereas I think some people think like to be a great actor, you like have to have like this water coming out of your face.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, that means nothing if you don't have anything building up from inside.
hmm Yeah.
So,
I can't not mention this as a lifelong Vampire Diaries fan. You were in season 8 of the Vampire Diaries. Can
yeah.
you talk about like what that was like and like being in Miss Mystic Falls? Like that's iconic.
So I was on a cruise in the Caribbean and I got a call that like I had booked the show and I was like, oh my God. I was like, what do I do? I'm like in
hmm
the middle of the sea. Like, what am I supposed to do? And Ian was the director of the first episode I did,
Oh,
Ian
okay.
Somerhalder.
Yeah.
And And so he was like, I want her off that boat and I want her. And like, when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. Like, that
Uh-huh.
is so cool that he like specifically wants me like so bad. Like, that's, I mean, feels very nice, to feel wanted. And so, yeah, I forget exactly where we were, but I basically just at our next port found a city and
Oh
got
my
on a
God.
plane and went straight to Atlanta. So I like literally had like just like vacation clothes with me. I
Hmm.
like had like nothing really with me and it was
Fresh
cold and
tan.
like yeah, I was like, well, here we are. And I ended up being there for like about a month, I think. Yeah, and I did 3 episodes and I kind of knew it was going to be a short arc.
Hmm.
I wasn't fully sure like everything that they were going to do with it, but it was really fun. Everyone was super kind and welcoming, and I ended up hanging out with a lot of the crew afterwards. Friends with some of them on Facebook still. And yeah, and I saw Ian. Uh, I did an event last year where I went and did like signings and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that, which was really fun. And so I got to see him then and he was like, I got you off that boat. I'm like, I know you did. And he's such a sweetheart. And so yeah, I'm really happy I got to be like a small part in that universe
Yeah.
because so many people love it so much. I feel like I've been super lucky to be on like some really cool shows
Yeah.
that people really love. Like between that and then like Shameless and like kind of, I'm like I come in at season 8 though a lot. Like season 8 for Shameless, season 8 for Vampire Diaries. I'm
Hmm.
like, so it happens to be my season, I guess.
Yeah. But day one for Yellow
Yeah,
Jackets.
exactly, exactly.
Yes. All
A
right. Last
first
two
for me.
questions.
Yeah.
One, what's a moment you're most proud of from the show?
Oh my gosh. That's a great question. I'm just, I mean, I'm proud to have like booked the part. Like I'm still like just in awe that I even got it. But I think I'm just really proud every time we wrap a new season. Like there's always a video of me crying and like doing a whole like goodbye thing. And every time, even this season, I was like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And then this year I was like, okay, let me just say a couple things real quick because I have to. I can't like not let people know how much I appreciate them, especially when it comes to our crew, because they are the backbone of the show. They are like literally what makes Yellow Jackets Yellow Jackets. And so I think like the most proud is when we finish doing it and you're like, we worked so hard and this is a really hard show. Like it is it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do work wise for so many different reasons. Like it's so hard for so many different reasons and has really like I was never on anxiety medication until being on this show. Like I it has affected me in ways that I'm very proud of and then in ways that I'm not so proud of. And I think that though like it's very accomplishing when we say like we did it. And yeah, I'm really proud that we've made a show that people enjoy and
Mhm.
that people can like have that jaw-dropping moment. And I'm really hoping that we get to continue
Yeah. Me too.
making the show.
Really
I
do.
want to know so bad if we're going for another season because I just like, yeah, I don't know. Go say nice things on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right? Yeah. And then lastly, well, obviously you should be proud of everything that you've done because
Thank
it's like you
you.
said, it's extraordinary and amazing. Oh. And then just looking towards the future, what types of projects would you want to explore?
Oh my gosh. I think it would be really fun. And I have no idea what the future holds, but I think it would be really fun after Yellow Jackets to be doing kind of like a sitcom.
Okay.
Something that's funny and light and like, I don't know, something that is either kind of like on the same length as like New Girl or like Ted Lasso, like something just really fun and light. And then on the flip side doing really heavy and dark film. So I
Hmm.
think it would be fun to be able to do kind of that both, and I think like Bryan Cranston's somebody that I really enjoy watching him and his career and I just love that he's one of those people that does like that lighthearted comedy and then also just this really like fucked up drama and can kind of go into both worlds. And I think that's what I'd love to do with my career. I'd love to do like serious film and lighthearted television.
Hmm.
But we'll see. I'm down for any and all of it, honestly. I'd love to like direct and produce at some point too. Also write. Like I'm not great at um getting words on paper, but I have a lot of ideas that I'd love to see come to life. And yeah, I have a couple of things that I just would really love to do. I also have a docu-series that I want to do really
Ooh.
badly, that I would hope I could make. So
Hmm.
yeah, there's yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you on season 8 of Abbott Elementary.
Yes! Oh my God, Quinta, please
Yeah.
have me
Get that
there.
guest star role.
I love all of them so much. Oh my gosh. What a, like, honestly, Quinta's like somebody I look up to so much. What a boss. She's
Hmm.
like the definition of a boss.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Sorry we went
Thank
a little bit
you.
over.
No, no, no. Please.
I
I'm
hope
like,
I,
I love talking about it, but I think it makes it just so much more fun to like chat with you about it because it's something that you not only enjoy watching but like have taken the time to like really dive into like all these nuances about the show, and I really appreciate it. Like it makes it more exciting for me, so
yeah,
thank
thanks.
you.
I tried to ask questions because I've watched so many interviews and you guys get asked the same questions. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not gonna ask her about like forming the role with
Yeah.
Christina because like
I know.
favorite
I'm like, it's always
theories.
the most boring answers. But no, yeah, I'm really happy that we got to do this. And I'm happy I got to meet you. And honestly, like, just that you were so down to come to the premiere. And like, I'm really, really happy it all worked out.
Yeah,
So
I'm so happy that it did. It's so crazy that it was a month ago, but yeah,
time is just weird, especially during like this year. I feel like is the
yeah.
weirdest. I mean, for so many reasons, like
Hmm.
the election, everything
Yeah,
is just
yeah.
hard. And so I think it's all been like a whirlwind for me at least, like having a baby and then being like, oh my God, you're almost 3 months old. Like what the how? Like how
Hmm.
is this happening? But yeah, it was so fun though. I'm so happy you guys came. I'm so sorry it was raining the like
It
time
was
that you
okay.
were
I know it
here.
was flooding.
I'm like,
Like,
what the hell? Of course, the one time that
yeah,
it rains, but but
yeah.
yeah, hopefully we'll be able to come out to New Jersey. I
Oh
think
my
that would be
God.
so fun. I want
Yeah,
us to do like a pop-up thing there.
that would be so cool.
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Of course.
Hope you have a good day. I'm very
Thank
excited for the
you.
rest of the season. Oh my
I'm so
gosh.
excited for you. I know you have to let me know what you think.
I
Keep
think
me
it's just
updated on
getting
all your
started.
opinions. Yeah, I look forward to your videos. I look for
Oh,
them. I do.
thank
I
you.
get
Thank
stoked.
you.
So yeah. All right. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes. All right, bye.
Bye.